provide and meet the minimums for the future conditions. So I hope that didn't get conveyed differently. I thought we did a good job conveying that both solutions, are warranting similar results. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that I did provide that information, that they both were functional. Now, granted, the initial solution just had one or two problem spots that were really close to that minimum.
So either one would work, that's what you're saying?
Yeah. Have I not conveyed that before?
No,
Okay.
Yeah.
But Ted, to your point though, there's two distribution segments of water line that just didn't make it in that overall cost, and that's where you can see why the project costs of the original alternative selected is higher now, because those need to be incorporated. And on top of that, the district wanted to incorporate that D9 project there from that tank that was not incorporated in there. So that was maybe after the fact. I don't know. I wasn't involved with that. But both options do work. They do suffice the minimum fire flows and pressures. As Katie said from the get-go, that 12-inch main provides, really is a backbone for the system. There's a lot of value in it. But at the same time, there's some significant costs associated with it as well. And then, alternative E, as you're very aware, by adding a new booster station, there's additional O&M that is going to be associated with that will, warrant costs on an annual basis.
So I feel pretty comfortable saying, from what I'm hearing from Katie and Laura, that we can move forward with the alternative plan. We will hold a meeting for the residents to notify them of this.
Right.
And we're basically all good. Is that a summation of what we just said?
Yes. As far as making firm decisions of moving forward with one versus the other, you'd need that public meeting before you have a board decision that says this is what we're moving forward with.
Right. Yeah, we plan to do that.
And then can I ask what's the source of the additional funds in excess of the debt?
Yeah, that's a great question, Laura.
Well, the alternative E, it comes in at 3422,925. And
Okay, that's alternative F on what I have.
right.
But that's the one we're considering.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is what we're considering. And
Okay.
yeah, the other one is way over budget.
Yeah, over $500,000.
Yeah. So F is what we're considering.
Okay. And the 22,000, almost 23,000
Yeah.
in excess funds, is that grant funds, local funds? What's the source?
It'll probably be, what do you think, Colleen, local?
Well, we're trying to get some additional grant funds, and I think Jesse got something today from Army Corps that there are funds available from them. It would be into the 2022 fiscal year there. And
yeah, I forwarded the email from Kyle. Kyle's been working pretty hard on that one.
so Kyle,
I might make a quick comment, Colleen. So one of the things in the whole, you guys are doing your rate study right now, right? What's the timeline for completion on that?
We haven't started it yet.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. But
Oh no, we've started it. So
Okay.
Gary's been working on it. I've gotten him quite a bit of documentation, and then he actually plans to present a draft at our next meeting here in January. So you'll see that when he presents the draft.
Great. And so and I don't know exactly, but what you guys could do is, I believe you guys are, able to legally incrementally increase your rates without, public input. And what you could be doing is starting to increase those rates slightly, knowing that you're going to have to increase them with these projects anyways. And you can start to develop a little bit of a backlog to make up maybe some of that money. I haven't ran the numbers. I don't know exactly where that would end up, Laura, but I would be willing to bet they could generate a decent amount of revenue by gradually increasing those rates to the legal amount.
Yeah, we have raised them $8 when the previous board They raised the
Okay.
maintenance, and we have a little.
Well, yeah, and I think what you're saying, if we only, well, let's say 25,000 is a round figure that among our users would not be any great increase. That certainly could happen.
Right. And Colleen, tell me if I'm wrong, but the $8 is in a separate account, and we're.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with this because that was based on the previous amount. And if we continued with that, we would still be short for 25,000. And I believe the dollar amount that we brought forth at the public hearing was based on the 3.4 million, and we provided at that time we were going to do 3 separate
Increase.
yeah, we were going to do the project in 3 separate sections, and now I think Kyle is thinking we're probably going to do it either in 1 or 2. So we would have to adjust the total amount and the incremental increases according to how we are going to manage the project timeline.
Right.
And so really what we're saying here is within that, we're going to have to build in another $25,000.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the $8 was just the first increment of, I think it was about $25 a month.
Can I ask Kyle? I don't see any cost of issuance or interim interest expenses in the estimated cost descriptions.
Sure.
So are those wrapped into each of those projects, or how's that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So as you can imagine, we're kind of in a tight spot because a previous consultant did a lot of 99% of this work. So what we used was the basically the base development of those costs and what was incorporated in each of those project costs for some of the new projects. So I believe the bulk of those projects there have that, and I'm just going to pull it up right now.
Because what I want to be sure that you're aware of as a board, and I've seen other districts get into the situation, so your project cost is the same amount as your total debt capacity. You get to the end of the project and you owe, if it's say it's a DEQ project, DEQ is advancing the construction costs as draws, and you're paying interest on those draws for the life of the project. And so there are costs of borrowing associated with the construction phase that you need to make sure that that's calculated in what you're figuring your total bond amount is, because you cannot exceed 3.4 million.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that, and then all your engineering costs, and then the cost of issuance, really, if it's a DEQ finance loan, is really just your bond counsel fee. So you don't have any bank origination fees or anything like that.
No, we don't. It's just the interest.
Right, but it's, correct me if I'm wrong, Katie, it's the same interest as you get at the end